everyone and welcome back to our channel. I'm Anne from the Sussex Handmade Soap Company, and today we are going behind the scenes and showing you us trying to formulate some new products. Today we are going to be doing something we have never done before, and that is trying to create a shaving soap. We have never created a shaving soap before, so I want to make it clear this is not a tutorial. This is not us telling you how to do it, because we don't yet have the knowledge ourselves to actually be able to tell you guys what you need to do to actually create a really nice shaving soap. What this is just a little glimpse into our world and showing you what stages we kind of go through when we introduce new products or even think about introducing new products. So normally we formulate our own recipes and tweak them and play with them. Today, because this is the first time we are making this, we are actually following a recipe from a book. We are following a recipe from Simple Natural Soap Making by Jan Berry, and I am linking in the description to the book if you wish to purchase it yourselves, because it is a brilliant book. I have mentioned it before a couple of times. I really do recommend it. I think it's fantastic, and we are following her recipe today. For that reason, I will not be linking in the description the recipe and the amounts, because I just don't think it's fair and possibly not even legal to actually completely say everything that is in the book with quantities and whatnot. I will tell you the ingredients, but I will not be telling you the actual weights that are used. Yeah, just because it's not cool to kind of publish all of that information when she's got a book with it all in that you can purchase if you wish to. So when making a shaving soap, there are a couple of key differences between making a shaving soap and making a regular cold process bar soap, which is the kind of soaps that we generally make. The first key difference is that with a shaving soap, you'll be using two different kinds of lye. So it is a dual lye soap. Whereas with the cold process bars, we just use sodium hydroxide. With the shaving soap, we will be using potassium hydroxide alongside sodium hydroxide. So we will be using two kinds of lye to create this soap today. We will also be using kind of a modified hot process technique. So it isn't going to be the cold process method. We are going to be bringing in a slow cooker and actually using that to cook the soap as we create it. So the other thing that I have learnt about shaving soap is that it needs to be high in stearic acid, and that is so it creates the nice, rich, creamy, stable lather that you want with a shaving soap. Now, I'm sure there is a way of just adding in some stearic acid, but as I said, we are just in the very beginning stages of learning about shaving soap, so I don't know how you would do that. I do know that if you want stearic acid, it is quite often derived from palm oil, but if, like us, you are a palm oil-free business, you can purchase palm-free stearic acid from the soap kitchen here in the UK. It's a little expensive and their shipping rates are a little high as well, but it is the only place I have actually found that does palm-free stearic acid here in the UK. The option we are taking to make sure that our shaving soap is nice and high in stearic acid is by using Kokum butter, because Kokum butter is naturally high in stearic acid. And I'd love to say that, you know, this is stuff that we've researched and we found out and we know because, you know, we spent ages researching it, but to be honest, it's all explained in the recipe book that I showed you just a couple of minutes ago. So yeah, we are making our shaving soap with Kokum butter to ensure it has got those nice high levels of stearic acid that are required. So without further ado, we are going to get to making the shaving soap. Please remember, as I have said, this is not a tutorial. It is you guys watching us practicing. So if you want a tutorial, this probably isn't the best video to watch, but if you just want to see us having a little play and making a new kind of soap for the first time ever, then stay tuned and let's see how we get on with it. So first things first, safety precautions. I've got my hair tied up, I have got my goggles on, I have got my gloves on, and I have got long sleeves, which technically should actually be a little bit longer, but it is super warm in here today, and the only other long-sleeved clothes I have are big woolly jumpers, and I just really don't want to pass out on camera because that would not be a good look. So let's get started. I have got some water here and I have got some coconut milk here. I am going to tip the coconut milk into the water. I have now got my two kinds of lye. I have got my sodium hydroxide here and I have got my potassium hydroxide here. I'm now going to carefully add these in to the coconut milk and water solution. I am then going to stir them to dissolve, and I'm actually going to do this away from the camera by an open window so I've got plenty of ventilation. So stir to dissolve and then set to one side to cool. The next step while our lye solution is cooling is to take our Kokum butter, our coconut oil and our shea butter and melt them together in this pan here. So Kokum butter going in first, and this is the butter that we have in the highest proportion because obviously it is predominantly a Kokum butter mix today. Then we are going in with our coconut oil, and lastly our tiny little amount of shea butter. And now we are going to melt these gently over a low heat. So this next step is where, if you are like me and you are mainly used to cold processed soaps, you will notice the method getting a little bit different. We have now brought in the slow cooker and we need to add in our melted oils to the slow cooker. After we have added the melted oils in, we will also be adding in some castor oil too. So going in now with the castor oil. And now we need to turn on the slow cooker to the low setting, like that. We are now going to add in our lye solution into those oils, and then we are going to use the stick blender and a combination of stirring and pulsing to bring the mix in the slow cooker to a trace. So now we have brought the mix to a kind of medium to thick trace, and it took about 10 minutes, which for our soaps is quite a long time. Most of our soaps do trace a little quicker than that, but it does say to allow 3 to 10 minutes for it to come to a trace. We just need to cover it and continue to cook it on low, checking it kind of every 15 minutes to make sure it is not bubbling over or, you know, just doing anything it shouldn't be doing. So we are going to pop the lid on now and come back to check it in 15 minutes time. So it's been 15 minutes now and we are going to check the soap for the first time. Throughout the cook process it is going to go through lots of kind of different stages, and we are going to show you all of those as the soap goes through them. So 15 minutes in and the soap is looking like this. So not a huge change yet, but I am just going to give it a little stir. Then we are going to pop the lid back on and cook it for another 15 minutes and then check on it again. So it's now been another 15 minutes, so we are going to take off the lid and have another stir. And as you can see, we are starting to see some changes now. It is kind of foaming up a little. It is separating out a bit, but that is So I am told by the book, perfectly normal and nothing to worry about. Looks really strange. It is so different to doing cold process soap. I've made liquid soap a couple of times, so this isn't entirely new in terms of what it is doing here, but it is still strange to see how it looks. It is going kind of thick and gloopy and syrupy, so it seems to be moving in the right direction. We are now going to pop the lid back on once again and wait for another 15 minutes. So the soap has now been cooking for 45 minutes, and this is the stage we are at now. So the book tells me that by now it should be getting nice and thick and there should be visible lumps of soap forming, which I am pleased to report we do seem to have. So everything is on track by the look of it. Now we need to cook it for another 15 minutes or until it becomes kind of almost transparent, kind of like petroleum jelly. So hopefully within the next 15 minutes or so we will have reached that stage. I'm happy with how it's going so far. We are getting that kind of lumpy consistency, which is what we want. So going well so far. So 15 minutes later, the soap has now been cooking for an hour in total, and we are starting to get that kind of glossy, kind of petroleum jelly look that we are aiming for. I am just going to give it a kind of stir together to see how it is looking, and then we may take out a little bit and let it cool and just test it to see if the soap is ready for moving on to the next stage. So I'm just going to remove the spatula now, and the little bits that are left stuck to the spatula is what I'm going to allow to cool, and then we are going to test it and see if the soap is actually ready for moving on to the next stage yet or not. So now we need to test the soap batter just to see if it is completely cooked or if the lye is still in there and it's going to zap. And the way to do it, according to the book, is a way I have heard of before, and that is just to touch the tip of my tongue to the soap batter, and if it kind of zaps or kind of zings like licking a car battery, not a car battery, don't be licking a car battery, a little 9-volt battery, that's what I meant to say. If it zaps like licking a little battery, then you need to cook it for longer because it might still have the active lye in it. And if it just tastes like soap, then it is fully cooked. Obviously, if you are making a recipe like this, I don't need to tell you to be really careful when you are doing this. Make sure the soap is cool. Make sure you wash your mouth out thoroughly after you have done it. So just use some common sense because, you know, it's soap and it could be hot and it's not going to be nice on your mouth. So I'm just going to very carefully touch the very tip of my tongue to the soap now to see if it zaps. Doesn't zap, does taste like soap. I think it's done. I'm gonna wash my tongue now. So now my mouth is washed out and I'm confident that this soap is fully cooked and not zapping anymore. I can turn the slow cooker off, and then we get hold of some glycerin and our essential oils that we are adding into our recipe today. And we are just going to mix our essential oil blend into our glycerin. And I'm just going to use this large wooden lolly stick just to mix them together. And then we are going to add that into our soap batter. So pouring the glycerin and essential oil mix in now. And this apparently should help to loosen the soap and make it easier to work with. And it should also give a better lather once the soap is completed. As I said, this is all from what the recipe book is telling me. I haven't made this before, so I can only go with what the book is telling me, but I'm just going to try and mix this in now and just get it kind of loosened a bit and nicely mixed in. So I have now transferred the soap out of the slow cooker and into something that's a little bit more manageable to handle, because that slow cooker was hot and also really big and bulky. All we need to do now is transfer this soap mix here into these moulds here. I will probably have some left over as well, but I'll just put that in some other little cavity moulds. And the way to do it is just by spooning it out. And this is kind of like a really thick kind of treacle caramel thing. I don't know if this is going to work or not. That's kind of the point of trying things, isn't it? I need a spatula. Thank you. I say this is our first time trying to make shaving soap, so if it doesn't work, I'll just try again. But hopefully we'll at least know where we went wrong if it doesn't work. It's very strange to be kind of squidging soap into moulds. Doing cold process, obviously you don't generally squidge soap into moulds like this, so it is kind of a strange new experience. Squeeze some into this one here. I've got to say, this doesn't look the most attractive, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work. It might just be not the most attractive of soaps. But being completely new to kind of making soap in this way, because I've never made hot process soap. Although I've made liquid soap, I've never done hot process. So this is just completely new and unusual. And I don't know if it's meant to look like this or if it's not meant to look like this. Hopefully, when it has set up and when it is cured, I'll have an idea as to whether it's worked or not, because to be honest, right now, I genuinely have no clue as to whether this has worked or not. So I have levelled them off and neatened them up now. They're pretty much done. I've got quite a lot of mix left over that I'm going to decant into some more cavity moulds, but yeah, they are done. They now need to be put to one side for 24 hours, then we can come back and turn them out. But it's not going to be until they're fully cured in 3 to 4 weeks' time when we can actually try and use them and see if they have worked or not. So it's going to be a long 3 weeks waiting to find out. But we will be back tomorrow and we will show you these turned out and show you how they are looking. So 24 hours later and we have our finished shaving soaps ready to turn out, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. I have already loosened them, so hopefully they will pop out quite easily. There's the first and the second. I'll leave those two in the mould for the moment. So, what I am noticing so far, they are still very soft, which I wasn't actually expecting. I thought they might be a little bit firmer. I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if they are meant to still be soft. As I said, this is our first time making them. So, you know, it's possible that mistakes have been made. I don't know. They may well firm up more during the cure. That is something that only time is going to tell. So there is not a lot I can do at the moment with them to actually kind of tell if they have worked. In 3 weeks' time, they will hopefully be fully cured and we can then just sort of test them with a shaving brush and just see how well they lather and see how they look. The only thing I will say is they have come out a lot darker in colour than the recipe in the book I followed. So not sure why that is. I did use a different essential oil blend, maybe that's it. Don't have a clue really, as I say, just experimenting. So I'm just going to leave these now for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to come back and test them. I will do a little update on how they lather and how they have turned out in probably one of our future videos, because obviously I can't do it in this video now because this video is going up tomorrow. So I will, in one of our future videos, give an update on how they actually turned out. If you are familiar with making shaving soaps and have any kind of hints or tips or, you know, want to analyse what I have created, please feel free, because shaving soaps, as I've said, are so new to me that I will take all the advice I can get. Anyway, thank you for watching me playing about with new things today. On Friday, we'll be back to our familiar, lovely soap making that I am competent with. So we shall see you then. In the meantime, if you enjoy our content, please do give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we shall see you on Friday. Bye for now.